I'm Eric.
And I'm Steve.
Let's just talk about it. Welcome, Planeswalkers, to the CollectorMania YouTube channel. Of course, I'm Eric, and here's Steve. We're doing episode 13 of
Let's... the saddle again.
Huh?
Back in the saddle again.
Yeah, that's right. Episode 13 of Let's Talk About It. We're just going to talk about it.
Yeah, we felt very casual today.
Yeah.
Just because, you know, it's getting really close to Christmas.
Yes.
Things are starting to get busy in personal lives and whatnot. So we're getting ready to go see Star Wars. I think Monday, correct?
Sunday? Sometime.
Yeah, soon.
Yeah, soon.
Well, you already saw it today, right?
I'm seeing it tomorrow with Seth and
right.
Seth's girlfriend.
Yeah.
And then we got to figure something out.
Okay. I can't believe we're already here. Like, I just turned around the other day and it was just like, Star Wars is coming out in like 2 days. It was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, since when?
Yeah. And it'll be, before we know it, I'm sure Han Solo or whatever after that will be out next.
Yeah. I'm still interested to see how that will go.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as like actual like magic goings-ons, we're on the last night of the league. Or no, yes, almost. Well,
tonight's
the last night for qualifying for the finals.
Yes, night number 6 of 6. So,
yeah.
And then next week will be the off night, and then if you're available, it should be the 28th of December. Tune into our 1v1 stream.
That, yeah. Stream it and put it on YouTube as well.
Yeah, so.
And if you've been missing the vlog style me and Kylie thing, yeah, we haven't been keeping up on it. I'm really sorry. After week 3, we kind of fell apart there, and we haven't been actually going to the league because we've been so busy filming Unstable and all kinds of other stuff. So
gosh, yeah.
We'll have to plan that better next time. I'm sorry, guys, but yeah, it just kind of fell apart on us. We do like the vlog format, though. I think we're going to try and push that a little bit because it's actually a lot of fun.
I wish I was part of that a little bit more.
Well,
if, you know,
can definitely be in it.
Yeah. Like, you know, it's neat to see. Like, I did not a whole bunch of editing, but just watching it and producing it and stuff. Like,
it was a fun experiment.
Yeah, and I think it showed off the shop. Like, this is pretty static. I mean, we're in the back room right now.
Yeah.
Like, but you know, seeing people walking around and like playing games, rolling dice and stuff. That's a neat.
Well,
neat
and
aspect.
It's nice to get that ground level of the players. Yeah. That's what I really enjoy because then you get to see like the different faces, the different names. I mean, we tried to name as many as we could essentially, and you get more of that immersion, I guess. You know?
Yeah, I'd agree.
Which is nice. So
yeah, cool. One thing, like you said about as far as holiday season, of course, you're like, why is there a gift package on here? If you guys haven't seen, once a year Wizard sends out a pretty cool promo card, a silver border card. So I figured it just showed up yesterday, so figured it was relevant, especially with Unstable around. But if you hadn't seen it, the holiday card this year is some disassembly required,
which is totally awesome.
Yeah, and they sent a little card that's got the same art. It's taped to our front case or a cabinet. It looks sweet, and it's a little bit larger than the image here. But you can see for a black enchantment, pay a black, sacrifice a creature, distribute the sacrificed creature's keywords amongst any number of other target creatures until end of turn. If it's December, you gain 1 life for each of those keywords. So, boy.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
No. I mean, it almost feels like a real card until you hit December.
Yeah.
Well, and it would be totally busted, too. But,
yeah, if you think of, like, a creature, like, is there any...
Well, anything, really. I mean, say you have, like, something unblockable, and you have, like, I don't know, Infect Titan, and you just tear him apart and give it indestructible, unblockable, trample, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. It's
just like, yeah, there's some pretty broken things you could do with it.
I'm thinking Karen Wander is the one that...
Like, gosh, yeah.
Odric's out of the graveyard, right?
Yeah.
So if you're running black and you got a joke deck, pick up a Karen Wanderer, and then you can kind of like feed your abilities. And then, like, what's the one? Is it Necrotic Ooze that can use activated abilities? So would that work? Because no, it's just keyword abilities, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Still,
it's not anything
too bad.
Activated, yeah.
Yeah, or you could Odric if you're playing black-white. There's some cool stuff you can do.
So, as far as, like, picking these cards up, do you find that... I mean, I've never looked for any of them, but as far as, like, finding them online, have you looked at all? Or?
Star City used to have them, because when we first got ours in, like, 2011, I think we looked to just say, oh, like, where... Like, A, how much is this worth? Like, B, are there others? And, of course, there are. I think our first one that we got was the Yule Ooze and stuff, like... But there's the Fruitcake Elemental, and I think we missed that. There's Gifts Given, you know, there's a number of other ones out there, and they're not too cheap. I think they're maybe $30 to $60 depending on how useful they are.
I guess I would, if I was a shop owner, I'd probably just hold on to it. That
Yeah,
makes
we
sense.
don't sell them. Like, you know, we just got them. It'll be something cool to remember the shop by if we ever shut down or quit or whatever. Like,
well, and as we've talked about before, it'd be nice to kind of roll these into like a holiday episode or something like that, which, you know, like a Christmas giving thing.
Yeah,
which we're working on currently.
But yeah, super cool. You know, it's a nice little thing that Wizards does, I think. And you know, it's not to us. It's different, but you know, it's just cool. I don't know what to say about it. It's neat. And the art is amazing.
Yeah,
it's got this creepy dude in the background, just like. Oh,
I do really like the gold snowman. That is pretty sharp.
It's just so gross looking. Like there's a brain and like a heart floating around and the foot like.
Well, and it definitely goes in the same vein of like all the unstable artwork that we've been looking at for like the last 3 weeks or whatever. And you know, now that we've done all the drafts and the seals and stuff like that, and we're actually trying to do one tonight, maybe we'll see what happens. But I mean, I gotta say, if you haven't drafted or played any of this, you need to. It's a blast. I know I started out in the camp of I don't really care for this, and now I'm kind of like, wow, this is really interesting.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have turned around. I mean, we sold out like crazy. I'm sure your shops are doing the same thing. Like, it's nuts, and I think it is that it's almost like festive. Like you see this, and it's people kind of get into that spirit. They open a pack, they see your buddy open a pack and get something totally weird. And they're just like, give me a pack, I want to draft it. I'm in the same way. Yeah. I'm like, you know, sure, you see all these silver border cards from Unglued and Unhinged and stuff. And it's like, eh. And then you play it and you're just like, oh my god. Like, I played white, blue. Check out the gameplay if you haven't. White, really. Blue, and then...
I'll put a link.
Yeah, green, white, I think.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, or no, it's green, black. By the end of it, it's just like, I want to try... everything else, like the red green and the dice rolling and like the squirrels, and like they did a good job.
Yeah, they did. And a lot of people have really brought up the point that this is nice because it's, if you just play the unstable, it's its own little realm. Yeah, you know, it doesn't really include all the real spiking, well, besides spike, I guess.
Besides spike, yeah.
It doesn't really include a lot of the stuff that may, to some people, make the game feel a little fast or whatever. So a lot of people I've been talking to, and I pretty much do this with every kind of like supplemental set or product, is you build what's called a battle box, and you essentially have a set of decks that's built to play against each other in like a board game almost. And I think this is perfect for that. So if you're thinking about buying into this, just make it's not a cube necessarily, because it's actual built decks. It's not, I mean, cube would be a great way to do this as well, yeah, of course,
but that might require a bit more, is what you're thinking. It
would. Usually that, I don't know. Plus, this way you can kind of control it and pre-build it, depending on what format you want to play for. Like, obviously, I'll do Commander, which is singleton and all that good stuff. So,
but somebody could do they could do the red-green guys, or... Yeah,
they could do the factions.
Yeah, and then just like you said, almost have that briefcase, that board game box full of... What you'd like to play with, you know. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Well, and I mean, seriously, you get one box and you pretty much have almost everything you need. You might have to pick up a few legendaries and a few contraptions, but I found that once I filtered through my first box, I pretty much had everything. I didn't really have trouble finding... I think the only card I'm missing right now that I really want is Julius Jumblemorph, and that's about it. So
yeah, we need one of those for our challenges. It's like,
really.
Kylie bought a box, Greg's bought some packs, if not a box... You bought a box, no, Julius. Bobby's got one, and or two, and he's been trying to help us out. And...
Yeah, and he's been generous, of course, in saying that I'll let you use this or trade for it or whatever, and that's totally fine. If it comes to that, yeah, sure. If I don't
only Julius Jumblemorph in the shop,
really, yeah. Well, I guess I didn't actually get the red green guy either.
Buzzbark, somebody trade that in.
Yeah, I'll have to find one of those and track it down. There's a few cards that I need, but for the most part, if you get a box, you're probably going to have exactly what you need. Yeah. At least enough to make like a 40 card deck for each faction. You should be totally fine. Even without the leaders, it'll still play just fine.
Yeah, and you could go beyond just the legendaries. Like, I know, like you said, you're doing the commander, but somebody could do, I want 4 snickering squirrels, and oh man,
really turn it up to 11.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Well, and that's the thing too, is with the contraptions. I know some people, especially like super competitive, have just been saying, I'm going to take all the rares and all the mythic ones and slap them together. Because I think the deck list for the side deck is 15 cards minimum,
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure. I think there's 1 mythic and 2 rares per faction. There's 5 factions.
Yeah, 5 factions. They all should have 9 contraptions because they make the binder page.
Yeah, so that pretty much works out perfect.
Yeah.
But I think that's the wrong way to do it.
Yeah.
I really think, you know...
Otherwise, you just have a deck of those, you know.
And it's way too spiky. Yeah. Way. Because, I mean, some of those effects are absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
Like, there's ones that assemble more contraptions. There's ones that, like, deal damage equal to blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, oh, God.
I was just out of curiosity browsing today. Is it okay to switch?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, as far as contraptions, because I'm a foil guy. Like, when Conspiracy comes around, I try to get a copy of each Conspiracy because those are neat. And then I try to get them into foil if I can. Some of those are just like, there's no way. But, like, you know, I was looking when the set came out, and they were pretty inexpensive. And now every single mythic, like, hard hat area, is a $20 foil contraption now. And they're all, like, I wonder if they... you know, moved up their prices because of how popular it is.
I'm sure they have. I mean, I don't think anybody expected this to do well. I really don't. And I think a lot of people got really caught, you know...
Caught off guard?
Yeah.
It's
just like, oh, wow, okay, this is definitely doing some things. I mean, I think you really have to play it to know it kind of thing.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Like, and there's been a few interviews with, like, Mark Rosewater talking about how they built the other 2 sets to be drafted with other sets, and then they built this set to be essentially drafted with itself, which I think was the key there. I think they really nailed it with that.
I didn't know that the other ones were meant to draft.
I didn't know that either.
Interesting.
They were meant to just throw a random pack into a regular draft, and then all of a sudden you have like a kooky card.
Wow.
Whereas this one is just totally isolated. Like it's
its
own
thing.
Its own
realm. Yeah, and I think that does serve it. You know, it like you said. It takes playing to see how great it is, and we have so many people like that come in, just like we've been out of it for not close to a week, but 4 or 5 days, and we get so many people coming in saying, "Hey, do you have this yet?" And it's like, no, like,
Well, and that's as a side note there. That's the one other thing is if you are looking to, I guess, be more like on the finance side. They most likely are doing another print run of this, so don't bank on like your lands being a lot of money right now. I think this will be, don't get me wrong, I think these lands will be worth a lot in a couple years, but I don't think it'll be that crazy right now, just because they pretty much have already confirmed that they're doing another print run of this. So yeah, those $4 islands aren't going to be $4 islands anymore.
Somewhere between, like, you think of Battle for Zendikar, Amonkhet, like, those are massively available.
Yeah.
Sure, they're 1 in 4 packs or whatever, but this is a limited print run where you're guaranteed one, that sort of thing.
Well, you buy a box, you get 36 of them, which, like I said, I think on the last episode, like, it's really not enough to do a whole lot with as far as decks, because you really need, I don't know, especially monocolor decks, you need, like, at least 20 or something like that, depending on how you build your decks or whatever. But, the lands... amazing, but as an aside, really, the rest of the set's just great, so it doesn't really matter. No. So if you buy a box, once again, you're getting something that you're probably gonna enjoy for a very long time.
Even just tokens, like that's one.
Oh
thing.
Yeah.
I have one guy here who's just like any Thopter tokens, like in standard. I guess there was a double-sided Thopter servo.
Really?
For the Amonkhet.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The league, but like. It's just one of those things. They're just like, I gotta get them, and then the dragon. Oh, God.
Yeah, the dragon is absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, and it's pretty inexpensive. So, man,
I like all the silver border ones. Like the goat is just like, oh my God.
Just got to go back to Lorwyn, right?
Yeah, really.
Or make like a trading post modern.
Well, and that's the other thing is that a lot of people are talking now. They most likely will make another unset at this point with how well this is doing.
So, I know one topic, because I was thinking about this a couple days ago. One thing we talk about a lot is the like ceaseless product release.
Yeah, the hammering our heads with product.
How quickly would you be okay with Unstable 4?
Honestly, they could give it a few years and I'd be totally fine.
Okay.
And, who knows between here and then, we might see some of these things that are in this group of Unstable filter into regular Magic, which is, part of the intention of it.
Good.
Like, obviously, like the host and augment creatures is a big one that people are talking about. Obviously, I think it'll be a little bit different. I think that they'll make both halves of the cards more playable. because I don't think in
It's
like a
almost like-
standard set you really want, you know, just a card that you need something else for.
It's like the Bestow.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
was still useful.
Yes.
Like, even if it were somewhat supplementary, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot like that, actually. Yeah, I didn't even think about Bestow.
I'd be curious to see if, like, we talked about, if you check out the last episode, there's so many cards that are just hair off.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
that'd be sweet. Like, it doesn't have to be old Buzzbark, but, you know, like, or you think of Julius or Phoebe or something, you just, like you said, if they do some of that and just put it in Magic, even, like, I could see that being a conspiracy, even if it's something wacky, like, I don't know.
I mean, really, like, I don't know if anybody would necessarily agree with me on this, but if they end up making either like a sub format of like Uncommander, which, I mean, your shop can basically, your play group can do that themselves anyway, or they make these legendaries legal in Commander if the rules committee decides to do something like this, or that, I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to like an Uncommander Commander release set.
Yeah.
Like, I think maybe not as like the part of the yearly thing. I think this would have to be supplemental as well, like a second set or something like that. But I think people would go crazy for that. Like 5 different sets of like uncard commanders.
Yeah.
You know, that if they really thought about making it a format, which I don't, you know, I don't think Wizards is thinking about that at all. They don't care.
No.
But, you know, I guess that's hopes and dreams.
Yeah, I mean, really, it surprised me as a product, as an atmosphere around the product, and then the possibilities.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'd ask you that question, like I guess if they waited until next, you know, like winter, would you be happy, unhappy?
That might be a little soon.
Yeah, I think they need to let it.
I think
rest
part of
a
the
bit.
hype is the distance between releases.
I think
I
you're
really
right.
think that is. And as we talked about, you know, I think next year is going to be worse as far as like products hitting us over the face all the time, because it is the 25-year anniversary and all that stuff, and that's fine, whatever. I mean, can we really complain about having more stuff? We really can't.
No.
The hard part is choosing what to buy and or buying all of it. If you have the resources to get it all, good for you, you know. If you don't, then it kind of sucks, because then you're just like, well, I kind of want to choose that over this, and that kind of puts a damper on this. I have no idea what, you know, Masters 25 is going to be about. Like, if they put like any kind of effort into like making full art lands like they did with the Unset, oh my god, like, could you imagine?
You know, but even that, like, what if that's too soon for some people?
I mean, honestly, I don't think that would be, especially if they use different artwork. I think that would be fine. I think people would lose their minds, first of all.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's not full art, but if they just did traditional full art lands for the Masters 25 set, I think that would be acceptable.
Yeah.
And I can see that. Once again, I think people would go absolutely crazy for it.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to go crazy. Assuming they make it decent. Like, you know, you think of Iconic, and I feel like it shouldn't have been called Iconic. Like,
no.
It should have been Modern Masters.
I don't think it should have even existed, personally.
Yeah, it probably shouldn't have.
No. They should have just lived with one master set this year, which would have been totally fine to everybody, I think.
I think right.
You know, continued the hype train on Unstable. You know, let it be what it is, which is already awesome. Iconic Masters is just like a sour footnote.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. I think, unfortunately, it's, you know, you think Modern Masters 1, good. Modern Masters 2, yikes. Modern Masters 3, real good.
Yeah.
Eternal Masters, good.
Yeah.
And then you think of Iconic Masters is like...
It definitely took the rug out from Modern Masters 2.
It really did, like, man.
Even though it's got better cards, in my opinion. But
I think you're right.
It doesn't have the same reputation at all.
And that's tough. Like, Modern Masters 2 was not very good.
No. Well, and it's like, what formula do they need to use? And like, they can't just blow us away every time.
No.
Like, it's impossible, first of all, but secondly, it would make every master set very boring.
Yeah, and you know, I used to tell customers, because they say, what was this one all about? Like, there's more of these? Like, you say 1 was really good. 2 was really bad. 3 was good. I think if they were anywhere between the quality of 1 and 3 with all of their releases, they'd be good, because you get the value. Like, there's the good reprints, you know, all sorts of stuff like that. Like, but it's tough. You know, like you said, they missed on 2, they missed on Eternal. I think Eternal fits like right in the middle between 1 and 3.
Well, and honestly, like, I may be somebody that I may be the only one here, but I liked Eternal Masters the best. I think
good.
it had cards that spoke to me as a Commander player, and I think that was mostly because it was going way back into those formats. Whereas like Modern Masters 1 definitely got me into having a lot of really good cards because I bought a box of that, which I don't know if you remember that whole thing, but like I barely edged in there. I was like, Eric, can I get one of these? Because I was getting first in. That was when I was first started getting into Commander, and I was like, I want some of these cards, and it's just like,
were you towards the end of the list or something?
Yeah,
or? Okay.
I was just like barely on there. But anyway, like
you were saying.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, like you're right. I think Eternal was good. Like, and I'd agree. It was that almost felt more iconic than Iconic Masters.
Yeah, it really did.
And the only reason I put 3 at the top is like rare fetch lands. You know, like that had the buy appeal. I don't care if I have 5 chances to get like a $25 card that I could put in any format, like nearly any format.
Yeah. Well, and I felt like you at least got like 3 per box, which was nice.
It was good.
Like, I didn't really find a whole lot of people that were disappointed in their box openings of Eternal Masters. Where
3.
Iconic Masters, I definitely saw some salt there, because I mean there were $50 boxes out there, and if you buy a box for $180, and that's low compared to what some people were selling it for,
more.
and you get $50 worth of value out of it, that is a bad day, like really bad. I mean, ugh. I mean, I got really lucky with mine. I don't know if there's also gameplay of that. We drafted that as well. But, like I said, I know a lot of people that weren't so fortunate on theirs.
Yeah. It's tough. That's, boy.
And it's, as we talked about with product fatigue, and we've brought that up many times now, I think that's a big part of the not excitement for it. It really is. And I honestly think that they should have taken some of the cards that were iconic, just shoved them back into Eternal Masters, once again forgotten completely about Iconic Masters, saved the other half of the really iconic cards, shoved them into Masters 25. Because that's another thing that just boggles my mind. Why do we need Iconic Masters if we're going to Masters 25?
Which should be iconic.
Yeah.
And what do you think? Like, when people said iconic, somebody brought up the point. They're like, maybe it'll be like old art. So it'll be like a black border Soul Ring with like
that would be kind of
the
cool.
Old art, or like here's a Shivan Dragon, but it looks like it's like beta.
Yeah,
like
they could have done that. They definitely could have.
And like how cool. I mean, people that hadn't played Magic in 20 years would be like, oh, like I gotta get this. Like
Wizards, you need to listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about.
Probably not. Don't listen to me. Or give me a job or something.
I don't know. I thought that was a good idea.
But like, imagine like that's iconic. Like if you're looking at a giant growth or like something that's that old, there's something about older cards and older art that I think old players appreciate, new players could appreciate, and they say, holy cow, this thing looks awesome, or you'd say, wow. Like I know there's not too many wow cards from back then.
I mean,
there are, but they're usually expensive, so odds are that wouldn't be in a pack. Like, but I think that it's almost like, back in my day I was happy for a 4/6 for 5, or whatever.
Hey, it doesn't have trample.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and that's the sort of thing I think there's something about that. Not that we need to educate everybody about all that, but like there's some opportunity there.
Well, I mean, I have Commander decks that basically try and find all the oldest artworks.
Yeah.
Like especially lands.
Yeah.
Like that's an idea. What if it was possible to? Because I don't know. Sometimes like the artwork is a lot bigger than what we see. That's just a fragment of it. What if they had like old printings of like artwork, and they could do like full art old art
cards
lands.
Or something? Yeah.
Like how cool would that be?
Or do like what you said, like if they zoomed in for something, do what they did with the guild gates.
Oh yeah.
Where there's like a different perspective or something like. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be curious to see what comes of M25.
There's a hell of a lot of possibility there.
Yeah.
Does I'm just trying to think of like when things come out. Does the core set come out before Dominaria, or is it after?
I thought Dominaria was like April.
Okay.
Yeah, I just checked it actually because we were looking for a conflict on something else. Of course, Rivals of Ixalan comes out the 19th of January.
Which is coming up like super quick.
Oh my god, yeah, it's a month.
Surprised the hell out of me.
Month for the pre-release. Today's the 14th. the 14th is the Sunday of the pre-release. So 13th, 14th, 19th of the release, and then Dominaria should be the 24th, 25th of April, I think. And then it should be M19 in the summer, and then sometime during that, and then we don't know. I don't think we know what's after that.
No. I think
the fall set.
We have like the code name for it, but we don't know what it actually is.
I don't know.
Should be Return to Mirrodin or something like that. I think that would be insane.
Yeah.
Either that or if they did Shards again. Like, oh my gosh. I know that's your dream.
Well, more and more I think about it, and I saw this Rosewater made a list, and number 2 was Lorwyn.
Oh god.
Could you imagine?
People would lose their minds.
I think Ashley would come back and play Standard Magic.
I know Kylie would be like ecstatic.
Yeah.
And I would be too. There's a lot of really cool. Like I would build a Treefolk deck like in a second.
Yeah.
I know there's already enough to do it, but like just give me a little bit more support and I'll do it.
Yeah. Oh god, man. That hopefully I think we need a little bit of that because, and I think we talked about this either in person, maybe on our earlier episodes, or maybe you and Greg or something. But like, how long have we known about all of this stuff?
Yeah.
It feels like 6 to like 9 months that we've known. Oh, okay, and like. We're still, the corner's way over there as far as we know. There's the summer set and M25 somewhere in there, but like, how long have you been excited for what's after what we know about?
Yeah, that's a good point because it really does dull down like what's like. I could give a crap about Rivals for Exelon right now, to be honest. Like, I just don't care. Yeah. I'm over dinosaurs at this point. All I really want to know is if that Sphinx is going to be on there. If it's legendary, I want it. That's
Have
about
you seen the 3-headed dinosaur?
No.
Wizard sent us all our promos. That's where we got that some disassembly card.
Yeah.
But they also sent an Ultra Pro, like, because they licensed their images and stuff. But there is a playmat. I wish we should have brought it, but took an image of it. Yeah. But it's a 3-headed dinosaur.
I bet you it's like probably the. Well, we already have the green one. Maybe it's the red one.
Maybe. Yeah.
They are doing the cycle of elders, so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it's just like, what? What is this? Like, we haven't seen anything about it. We've seen the Gahani or whatever, and like. We've seen this Tillamook or whatever, the black elder dinosaur. Well,
and then, like, they've already confirmed that there's definitely a Merfolk Lord. So, I mean, that has potential to mix up Legacy and Modern, even. Yeah. So, like, that's a thing, you know.
The more they do that, it's just like... Yeah. They're playing with fire every time they do
Well, I mean, they can't be afraid of messing with those formats, though. That's the thing,
true.
Is, as the company, they've already stated they don't really... Yeah, they look at things, but I don't think they really care as much as we think they may do.
And really, if you can screw up an Eternal format or you screw up Standard, you screw up the Eternal format. Like,
yeah, because, I mean, even if the Eternal format gets messed up, it's easy to go in there and ban something.
Yeah, you just say, okay, this one's
we saw that with the Eldrazi winner. Yeah. Like, they may have even known that they were going to mess it up, which I think they did. I mean, it's kind of like, oh yeah, duh. Mm-hmm. And all it took was banning one land and like maybe another card. I can't remember exactly what happened, and then it was fixed. It was resolved, and now there's actually a bunch of new Eldrazi decks that are still running around, like Bant Eldrazi and Mono White Eldrazi and Legacy, that are totally cool decks, and I would play them if I had them, but I don't have $1 bajillion either. So
yeah, it's curious.
It really is. Oh gosh, now I'm stuck on like Masters 25 and what could possibly be in there. I hope they give us a printing of Consecrated Sphinx that's not that artwork.
The Mirrored and Besieged one?
Yeah, I'm so tired of that artwork.
Yeah.
I know I've talked about this before, but like that card to me feels like something that could be on any plane. You know what I mean? Just change the flavor text.
And not like some like
disgusting
demon bee looking thing.
I want that card to be really pretty, and I want to put it in like decks that it should be really like pretty in. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and
I
it's
agree.
Just like you throw this weird ass thing in places, and it's just like they obviously got it right with the invocation, but then they messed up the rest of the card. So it's just like, what do you do with that?
It's curious because I know you've mentioned that in a few episodes. It was the big like threat assessment.
Oh yeah.
That's, I think, when we talked about it. May not have been on camera, but like I used to like it. Yeah, I think I own one, but the orange and the gray and the blue, it looks kind of cool. And then the more you look at it, it's like, what? No criticism, because I couldn't do any of that art, but it's just like...
Yeah, it's not a critique on the art. It's a critique on, like, what that card, I guess, feels like to us. What it means. Yeah. And it doesn't mean this weird Sphinx.
Yeah.
I think that could be more of, like, a black card, and it would be totally fine.
Yeah. You're talking, like, a Sphinx Ambassador look. Yeah. Like, very, like, austere. And
yeah,
like,
it should be very, like, pristine. And, like, I don't know. That's just... We've gotten off into a totally weird tangent.
Yeah.
But, I guess that kind of feeding into what I want to talk about next is, do you think there will be, not invocations, whatever you want to call them, masterpieces in the Dominaria?
Yeah, like, I think we talked about it just because, again, I think there was a lot of head scratching amongst us and maybe others as far as the invocation series. Like, nice to find lands, nice to find artifacts, like home runs. And then a bunch of stuff. Creatures and spells and enchantments.
Just a random pile of crap.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, you know, I think it'll be interesting to see. I guess.
I think
like,
if there was a place, this would be it.
I think you're right. And that, as far as Dominaria being, like, the root of most Magic lore, huge plane, whatever, like, all these heroes and stuff, like, that, to me, would make sense.
Like, could you imagine a Sierra Angel?
Yeah. Like
that would be amazing.
But
or
then again,
any Urza stuff.
Put that in Iconic.
That's, I mean, that's true.
Or M25.
Well, yeah, you put it in M25, but you put the masterpiece in the Dominaria.
It's such a mess, man.
I could see it happening. I would enjoy it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, you think of Sierra Angel, those
types of cards, like Thran Dynamo would be another one that I would just... They didn't do it in the artifact set, but if they did it in this one, I mean, I would lose my mind.
Yeah,
there's a ton of cards that they could do it with.
You think of what was that one in? It was in FTV 20, right? The Thran Dynamo.
Yeah, it was from the Vault 20, and it was actually in Iconic Masters as well.
Yeah, so that's the other only because there should be a regular foil.
Yeah.
FTV 20 and then or Iconic or whatever Masters. Yeah, just imagine. Oh,
just cards like that, you know. Even if they did like I keep calling invocations, a masterpiece like old style border, like we were talking about. Like imagine that. Yeah. Like, oh my god, people would lose their minds.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's just like I don't know.
Would it be too soon if they did Dominaria masterpieces?
No, I don't think so. I mean, once again, I think if they're gonna do it, this is where to do it.
Yeah.
Like they could have held off on doing the whole Amonkhet thing.
Yeah.
And then just waited until now, and people probably would have once again lost their minds.
Yeah.
I mean, that being said, they may still be reeling from the, oh, we shouldn't have done this. You know, a lot of people theorize that a lot of the artworks that we're seeing for the flip cards, you know, like the Growing Rights of Itlamok, I think I may have even said this on a previous episode.
I do remember you saying this. I don't know if you were here, but
most likely actual arts for like those older cards.
Yeah.
You know, the invocation versions, which totally makes sense.
Yeah. Why wouldn't it? Like if they do the treasure map versions or whatever, like
I could see it.
And if they paid some artist, they say, we'll still use it.
Just
put them in a buy box promo to put on Black Friday, you know.
Well, that's the other thing is we don't know how. I mean, we kind of don't know how far ahead they are, but we don't know exactly how far ahead they are. Like we don't have any idea. Yeah. Have you? Continuing on, have we noticed any difference in card quality? I thought that Unstable was actually pretty good.
I did as well. I noticed as far as print, and I know there's some differences there. Like, the print was a little dark. It felt like Gatecrash a little bit. You'd see a little bit of a fuzzy.
I could see that. Yeah.
Like, just area around like the inking. On a few cards again. Like, I don't know. Like,
I definitely felt like. I feel like the card was like opening a pack. I feel like the card individually felt a lot sturdier to me than like Ixalan, like by a long shot. Feels like Ixalan I can like bend in half without even thinking about it, but these Unstable cards just felt hardier. I don't know if it's exactly fixed, but it feels like they're going in the right direction.
One thing I noticed, and I don't know which standard set it was, it might have been Aether Revolt. But some of the cards had like almost like a hatch pattern.
Oh yeah.
In the surface of the card, and it was almost like it was printed like I'm trying to think, like certain board game card games do this, where it's just like, it's not a perfectly glossy sheet. It's got a little bit of texture, so you can, shuffle it side by side. But like, I noticed that on some of these.
Pokemon does that.
Yeah,
yeah,
and like, Dragon Ball Z had some cards that had a little bit of, not like texture on it, but like, not embossed, but it was really weird.
Yeah.
And I haven't noticed that since then. And not that I touched a whole bunch of unstable cards, but in the couple quarter of a box that we opened of yours, and
no, we did the whole thing, but
or the ones that I touched,
okay,
at least.
yeah, saying,
like I didn't, it did feel like a regular Magic card. I think the tokens, I remember those seemed thin, but if it's tokens,
yeah,
like,
I mean, that's a totally.
I saw somebody's dragon, and I looked at it, and it just felt like I could, like, if I held it wrong, it would fold in half, like, which again makes sense, but it's like, you got a foil, like, just put it on a regular card,
That was, I mean, I definitely see what you're saying.
Somebody should do some empirical testing and be like, here's a drop meter, and this card can handle this much before this many deflections, and yeah.
That to me is like the -- issue that Wizards needs to work on. And I mean, once again, we don't know how far ahead they are. They may have already resolved it, and we just aren't seeing any of it. We could not see it for another year or whatever. Which sucks, because we want Masters 25 and Dominaria to be as high a quality as it used to be. That's the thing. It's just like that whole "if it's not broke, don't fix it" thing. And I don't know. Maybe somebody brought this up in a video that I watched the other day. Is like, maybe they ran out of a certain type of paper or something like that.
I can see that.
Like, legit, they can't make it anymore. Like, it's maybe, I don't know how this would even happen, because paper's paper, in my opinion. It's cardboard. Like, nothing's...
There's a term, I forget if it's vertical monopoly or something, but the idea is you handle something from the beginning to the end. And if Wizards says, hey, we want to do this ourselves. We don't want to hire a plant to make the paper. We're going to do it. Like, that could cause something. Like, somebody else could buy out. Like, I think of Games Workshop. It's a miniature paint company and models and stuff. My army was a certain color. They changed their names for proprietary reason so they could copyright it. So my color that was Shadow Gray, nothing you could copyright on that. They called the Fang now. And the paint's different. But they had to do that to make it copyrightable. That's so they say. But even then, something like that, you end up with a different product. Like
100%.
It very well could be something like they're trying to specialize and get the whole thing done. I doubt it.
I don't think so. I think they still, like, every time anybody talks about, they still talk about printing facilities and blah 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 and blah blah. I think there's one in Belgium. I think that's where the foreign stuff's made, and then I think there's one somewhere in the U.S. Like, it's interesting. There's if you ever heard about Summer Magic. There were some issues with that, and they like, I read a Wikipedia one day about, like, where do these oddities come from? And they're like, oh yeah, this company did it, and a few of these sheets existed, and they're all screwed up, and like, like they were trying to do this or get this thing started in a different company, and these people did the bids and all this, and like, whoops,
it could be something like that. I think somebody mentioned, like, if Wizards is failing, or if Magic is failing, they might just say, like, bail the water in the meantime, get the bad card stock, and we're gonna have a little bit of a buffer room. But
I don't think so,
because that could be, I mean, if you're spending a penny less on a card, it's penny more profit,
I guess, but
not a good reason to do that.
No, I will. I know there's a lot of people that are kind of doom gloom as far as that goes, and we've definitely heard the, I guess, rumors or whatever you want to call it about that, and I do not think that's going on at all. I think Wizards is good for another 10 years at least, if not more,
for
20 years.
A multinational, like, worldwide event, like, even just selling, watching, MTGO, like, Magic is here. It's the vanguard of geeky stuff, I'd say. Like,
well, even like popular culture just mentions it all. Well, not all the time anymore, but they used to mention it all the time.
I think everybody in the geekery sphere knows it. They're not gonna touch something nerdy and not hear about Magic somehow. I don't think.
No. And there's so many people that play it, and really, I know that we said that we would never talk about the drama thing again, but like the amount of stuff that's been going on there, as far as like there are players that don't want to play it because X, Y, and Z, blah blah blah. In reality, there's really not that much of that going on. I think most players are just continuing on with their daily lives and doing it. It doesn't really matter. You know, a lot of people have talked to a lot of female players, and they really don't feel there's any like problem.
Yeah.
You know, and vice versa. Like, I think the Magic community is very accepting of pretty much anyone.
Yeah.
There's no racial or, you know, what would I'm trying to think of
just any sort of like
there's no discrimination.
Yeah. Like you said, it's either I don't think there is that doom and gloom.
No.
At least here, I mean, we can be dead wrong. Like we
Well,
live in Colorado. Like
yeah,
you know.
but I mean, there's so many people that, if you think about it, going back to what you said about like Magic in general, this is a collection of a lot of people that are usually like hobbyists, gamers. You know, what some people may call nerds or geeks or whatever. Mm-hmm. Most of those people do almost have that stigma of getting bullied in high school and blah blah, blah and all that. So most of those people come into this thing with an understanding of acceptance, and I would definitely, I guess, trumpet that. I mean, I was never picked on in high school. I never really had that issue, but
I was a little like, and you know, I don't know if you did this. When in your life did you get into geekiness?
Well, you know, I was always kind of an art nerd.
Okay.
But it's a little, I guess it's a little bit different.
But I could see it. That's something somebody could bully you for or target you, maybe.
I mean, where I was very, I mean, I didn't really have any like, no one really had an issue with being bullied as much. Like, there was a little bit of, like, you know, because I was at a country school. If you know anything about the area, it's Elizabeth, which is it's very rural.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of, like, backlash to, like, different, I guess, sexual preferences and stuff like that.
Sure.
Which I think they got over fairly quickly. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, that was really the only thing that we ever ran into. There was really no racism or anything like that, you know. So,
you know, and, like, I think about, I don't think I was bullied much. Like, sure, some stuff, but, like, nothing. But, like, the thing I think about and I joke about, anytime somebody picks up a D&D book, like, even I think Monday, somebody was like, man, I wish I could have talked about this when I was in middle school. Yeah. Like, if I said, I play Star Wars and Dragon Ball Z card games, like, they'd be like, what?
Well,
you know, like...
And, you know, I know we've touched on this before, but the stigma has gone away.
It's gone.
Yeah, like, Stranger Things came out, and that was, like, the final nail in the coffin. Yeah. Like, really,
it's
it was.
It's cool to be geeky, and, like, you know, my D&D group, we talk about it, like... I saw an article, you hear about, like, Vin Diesel playing D&D.
Yeah.
And then you hear, do you know the girl from Daredevil?
Yeah.
Deborah Ann Wall, I think is her name. She's a DM. Like, there's, I mean, it's cyclical. I think the parents have the kids, and they say, it's time to get my kid into Magic. It's time to get my kid into D&D. And, like, we had the geeky parents that started with video games, and they started, you know, I'm sure they got wedgied for their lunch money and whenever, like... And now they're raising kids to be cool with all this stuff, and that's where we are now.
Well, yeah, and really it's, once again, it's a great thing to trumpet, because if everybody's pretty much cool to do whatever they want, you know, like, whatever your freak flag flies, you know, just do it and have fun with it. Like, we're here on this earth to have a good time. I mean, really, I shouldn't say it that way, but we should be here to have a good time. And, like, you shouldn't let somebody's bias against whatever you're doing stop. Well, not whatever you're doing. But what you are doing that's actually reasonable.
I mean, within any, you come to a card shop. I think if you run a risk of running into something like that, it's in a card shop most likely. And hopefully, like, whatever you like, however, like you said, your freak flag flies. That boy. It's just like twister. Like you know, it's hopefully all within that sphere. Like, well,
it's just like you know, somebody was talking to me about this the other day. My brother is a really big guy, and he's, you know, he's tall, he's strong, he's the whole time he was in high school he was football, he was, you know, sports, blah blah blah, you know, typical, I wouldn't say jock so much, but very like, let's get this done, blah blah blah. And no one would ever guess that one of his favorite shows is Naruto. Like, he loves anime.
I see, yeah.
And that's not typically something that's associated with, you know,
I'd agree.
a guy like him. So it's just like, once again, people like what they like, you know, and you shouldn't be pigeonholed in anything because of what you're doing.
It's
like,
so stupid.
if you play sports, you should be able to play Magic.
Yeah.
Vice versa. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It really doesn't.
I don't get it. And, like, it's almost weird. The number of times I probably thought about that, of course, like, we, you know, and it's nice that we've had people call, and this is like a kind of a deep shopkeep moment. Like, people have called us and said, or emailed and said, like, do you have a comfortable transgender community at the store? And I say, yeah, like, you know, it's a kind of an awkward, it's like a hot potato. It's like, what do you do? But I would hope so.
Yeah.
Just as if somebody says, is your community friendly? My kid wants to learn how to play. You say, I'm transgender, I'm whatever. Like, is there going to be a problem? You know, and I think, oh, man, we're lucky to live where we live.
Yeah, we really are.
Oh, my God. I hope it's not a problem. I'm an idiot when it comes to picking up on social stuff sometimes, but it's just like, I don't, you know, if there were a gun to my head, I'd say there's not a problem here, you know.
I would definitely agree with that. I mean, we don't, once again, discriminate. There's no reason to.
It's all fun. Play the game.
It's a game.
Play the game.
I think that's the main thing people are trying to hit on over these last couple of weeks with all this crap that's going on the internet. It's just like, it is just a game. Let's sit down, bust out the dice and the cards, and just play. My God.
We got really deep so far in this episode.
Yeah, we have. That's because we're just talking about it.
Yeah.
I hope you guys have enjoyed all this.
Yeah,
by the way. BTW.
Yeah, if you... Boy. It's like... Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the thing. And, like, I think Kylie really kind of pointed it out to me as far as, like, the greater community, not us so much. But, like, it's just, like, people just need to be okay with other people's crap. I mean, really, that's what it is. Like, and I wish that they were... Like, another one of my friends, for example, his name's Malcolm. I've known him since I was, like, 6 or whatever. He is vegan at this point, which kind of drives me nuts when we go and try and eat something. But do I feel any differently about him because of his change? Like, Ashley did that for a long time too. Like, once again, just let them do their thing. It's a dietary thing. How does that affect you in any way?
My brother's vegan. Like, it's the perfect choice for him, health-wise, like, all that stuff, and definitely, like, the emotion, and, like, yeah, who cares?
Yeah.
Sure, it's tough to, you know, for him to come out with us, or it's tough for, you know, Steve and Brandy know that. We go out with him. But, you know, it's just, yeah.
You just pregame it and eat something before you
get
go.
A hot
That's
dog,
all you got to do.
Go to McDonald's and get a hamburger.
Yeah, and then go eat some carrot on a plate and be satisfied, because that's like your dessert, weirdly.
But even so, like you said, it's just like this is their choice. You need to back off.
Yeah.
And
it's funny how many things people really pick on other people about, and it's just bizarre to me. It's just like, I mean, there's fun picking and then there's non-fun picking. I feel like I straddle the line of that sometimes, because whenever I'm, like, I guess, bugging somebody about things like that, Ashley has experienced this many times. To me, it's in jest and it's in fun, and I would hope that anybody at any time, if I'm bothering them, would let me know.
Tell you, yeah.
Like, because it's I have no problem with your choice. I'm just trying to be funny. That's, I mean, I guess a whole different thing. But anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah.
Be nice.
Yeah.
Do your thing.
Yeah. Do your thing.
Yeah. Don't take guff from nobody.
No. Just, yeah.
Just like, yeah, I don't know.
Well, I think we're on a good... we've talked about it. How about you?
I think we could write a book or, like, something, man. It's like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we gotta save the depth for more episodes to come.
Yeah, maybe.
This is only episode 13.
Every 13th episode we'll have to do this.
Like a touchy-feely episode.
Savory Town, yeah.
Savory Town.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, so...
Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you don't want to hear us, like, talk
Babylon about whatever,
all the negative stuff, like, send us some. Again, we got to do this at the beginning, Steve.
I know. I keep forgetting.
I forget it. I did the intro this time.
Eh.
If you want to hear about something, let us know. We have, I think, one thing in the barrel as far as stuff to do,
and that's coming up here pretty soon. I might as well just tell them about it, because we're thinking about doing an episode on our favorite artwork, and you know. I've done art for my entire life. I can definitely pick a lot of stuff, and Eric really gets into a lot of that stuff too. So we're gonna have a lot of fun with that episode, but we need time to put it together. Yeah. So we can't just sit down and slap together like 10 images and say, I like this one because it's purry.
Yeah, this one fits my theme. Like,
yeah. Oh. Yeah. So,
and it's tough because, there's so much about the card besides the art that adds to why you love it, I think.
You think about like certain artists, like Rebecca Gay's always been one of my favorites, and styles, like I go that far. Like I watercolor, whatever. Yeah, so.
Tune in for that episode.
Look forward to it. Yeah.
So. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I think we're good.
I think we talked about it. Thanks for joining us.